Welcome to the Dice Tower, a series of video reviews about board and card games. Here are your hosts.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia.
I'm Chris Yee.
And I'm Roy Kennedy.
And today we're taking a look at Stella from the, it says on here, the Dixit universe. The Dixit universe being a universe of insanity and
strangeness, general strangeness.
Abstractness.
Yes. It's Earth 617.
Oh, nice.
I did a nerd thing.
Yeah, the Dixit cinematic universe is growing.
So right off the bat, two things. First of all, this is a game that's compatible with Dixit, and that means you can take the cards from this and use them in Dixit and vice versa. And the name Stella, I still don't know what it means.
Wow.
It literally doesn't tell you on here at all.
It's an excuse to yell, Stella, which I won't.
It rolls off the tongue more than cat on a hot tin roof. I have no idea.
Well, I will say that I do like that it says Stella and then Dixit Universe Small. That way you're not confused. This is not an expansion for Dixit. It's its own game.
I agree.
And how do we know that? Z will tell us.
The game is going to be played over 4 rounds, and at the end of those 4 rounds, whoever has the highest score, which we'll keep track of over here on this board, is going to be the winner of the game. Most stars, winner of the game. So we're going to reveal cards in this 5x3 grid, and we are going to give every player one of these boards, a token that matches that color that begins down here, and a marker, of course, something to erase with. And then there's a start player token over here as well. So each round follows this breakdown. We're going to reveal a card. We are going to place that card up here, hiding one of the 2 words. You're only using one of the 2 words. So we might do that, and the word for the round is softness. Now everyone simultaneously and secretly is going to select cards from this grid that they think match that word and that they think other players will select as well. You want to make sure that you orient this in the correct way with this board here represented on the same side. So a player over here with their own board, though they might be facing this way, they want to make sure that they hold it like this so that it's the same orientation. And then I select things. So I might take a look around and go, okay, well, softness, obviously without anybody else knowing this, I'm doing this internally. But I might think, okay, well, this fabric, this ambiance looks quite soft, so I'm going to mark that card by putting a mark there in the spot that represents it. There is over here this aquatic scene. I'll do that one. This fella here building a musical instrument that seems quite soft and gentle. I'll go ahead and do that. Perhaps this serene image here. I'll select that one. I can pick as many as I want to as long as it's between 1. I can pick 1. And I can pick up to 10. Once I'm done, once everyone is done, then we are going to say how many we picked. So I did 4. I'm going to select that. And then perhaps this player did 3, another player did 4 themselves, and this player did 6, let's say. If you are the one that is at the top of this, and you are by yourself, you are what's called in the dark. And we are going to flip over your token so that one of your 2 stars is basically grayed out. It's not filled in, okay? And then, starting from the start player, we will begin. On your turn, you are going to select one of the cards you picked, point at that card, and say that's one of your choices. So I might start with this one. I might say, okay, well, this gentleman here clearly looks deep in thought, very serene, a lot of softness in that image, soft tones. If multiple other players selected it, we are all going to get 2 stars, and you can just fill those in, and then it's the next player's turn to select one. If only one other player selected it, meaning myself and one other player, then we are each going to get 3 stars. And again, it goes on to the next player. So the next player might go, they might say, well, this one here, and I go, yep, I've got that, and this person over here says, yep, I have it too. Okay, great. We both, all 3 of us rather, get 2 stars. And we keep going. If at any point you select one, I might say this one, and everyone goes, nope, no one picked that. Then you fall. And at that point, you will not score any stars for that one, and you will not score any stars for any upcoming ones, though you still need to check and make your choices available to other players for them to check if any matches were made. So if on my next pick I fall off on this one, and then the next player goes, this one, I go, yep, I have that one. So you'll get points for matching with me, but I fell, so I won't get points for that. We continue until all the choices have been dealt with, and then we score. If this is what my score looks like, I will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll write that down over here. If the player who is in the dark at any point falls, they're also done scoring victory points, but they are going to score 1 star fewer for every selection for which they're making some points. So let's go ahead and say that this was me up here, and I had selected that one, and I got some points for these, and I got this one, and then I fell on that choice. No one picked it, I fell. Well, instead of 2, 3, 2, and 2, I'm going to get 1, 2 here, 1, and 1. And then, once that's done, we will clean our boards. Everyone has their points written down. We'll wipe this clean, and we will flip over one of these tokens, and it tells you which line of cards out here to eliminate. We are going to eliminate these. We are going to set those aside. We will reveal new cards into that line, and we will select a new word. In this case, it might be theater, let's say. Okay, so put that right there, and we do it again. 4 rounds of this. At the end of those 4 rounds again, the most points is the winner of the game. That's all there is to it.
This is a party game. I mean, I mention that because I know already a lot of people are going to look at this as not that big of a deal.
Sure, yes.
But there's a couple reasons I think being a party game is a big deal. And one of the reasons I want to talk about this more is because there's so few party games come out over the course of the year. You'll find this out. Today I'm doing my top 5 party games because I couldn't do 10.
And if you take into account games that are somewhat original, even fewer. There's a lot of cannibalizing ideas that are popular. That happens quite a bit. But games that, strive for something slightly different or very different, there are very few party games like that,
Very few party games also named the Italian word for star as well. I learned that on my own.
Okay, thanks Wikipedia. All right, so I don't know. I'm pretty sure Z was the same as me. Well, at least I went into this with a very skeptical eye.
Sure.
Mostly because they were using the name Dixit on it, and I thought, yeah, okay, sure. I found that usually when you take a property, whatever it is, and then say, here's another thing in that property, that other thing is always the spin-off, is always usually not that great.
Right.
There's a lot of board game brandingness going on. We just had a different Camel Up game come out that had nothing to do with the racing game. We're seeing more of that. So count me in with the skeptics when you said, hey, Chris, tonight we're going to play Stella, a Dixit game. Okay.
This also isn't like the first game that's taken like Dixit style cards. Of course, this is Dixit branded, but like that style cards and like innovated on the system a little bit, or innovated like how you use those art style cards. Because I mean, everybody loves the art in Dixit and they love how amazing all that stuff looks. But it's interesting to see them take that stuff and twist it a little bit and make it a little bit different. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I want to start out by saying that I think this game is going to give you a different vibe. If you love Dixit, I could not tell you if you would like this necessarily, because there is definitely some similarities.
Right, yeah.
But there are some...
It engages different part of what gamers enjoy, right? This has push your luck. Dixit does not. Okay? Dixit requires a certain amount of tactful creativity. This does not really engage that exact same part of like demanding of you the same way Dixit does. This one has that sort of trying to get into other people's heads a little bit more than Dixit.
I think they both have the getting into each other's heads a little bit, because whenever I play Dixit, I normally am trying to like play towards the person who I feel like is not doing as good. So it's like I can raise their score and hopefully help my score and keep other people out of the loop. This has where you're just trying to be like, what are they going to think of that card? Is it going to be like, are they going to think that's that? It's like...
Yeah, but I think that about everyone at the table, not just one person.
But you think that everyone at the table. It's like, what seems the most obvious? It's like,
today
I can kind of see that.
Max is Dixit.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you not?
I've never done that in Dixit.
Really?
I will agree with that.
Man,
I'm just trying
crazy.
to like pick something that is not too generic or too specific. That's as far as it goes.
In Dixit, every time I'm like, they're doing it last. This reference, they're gonna get this one.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay.
Wow.
But yeah, I agree with this one. You have all the cards splayed out already, and so it's just I think the general consensus of the table is going to be good on these ones. And then the order that you share those is really important because you want to pick what you think is going to be the most commonly accepted. You want to be the one to say that one. Let other people say the ones that are maybe, oh, is this one really, Gregorian? I'll leave you to figure that one out on your own, kind of a thing.
There's a lot of good moments where you're down to 3 or so, and you have to figure out which one you say. I've had a few moments like that where I'm like, well, okay, I'm gonna go with this one. Anybody? No one has it, and I'm out. And then it turns out both of the other ones I had, someone had picked. I just went for the wrong one.
Right.
And that's a funny moment. That's gonna get some laughs. So, yeah, I just find it to be less demanding than Dixit. Not that Dixit is a very demanding game. It's not as sort of taxing as I would classify Codenames.
Right.
I think Codenames is a very demanding game from the players. Dixit's below that. This is below that.
Yeah.
It's a relaxed play experience. It can just be it almost feels like a sharing sort of activity rather than I must destroy other people kind of vibe. That's not there at all.
Now, on one hand, I agree with that. I really like the discussion at the end, or the discussion as you pick a card.
Yes.
Many times I saw where someone picks a card, it's their first one, they said 7. They pick one, doesn't match anyone. And great hilarity ensues because everyone's laughing.
Yes.
And they're like, but wait a minute, the card was joyful. And they're like, yeah, but there's a coffin in that picture. They're like, yeah, but that's because I thought everyone's joyful that, I don't know, whatever the reason is.
The inheritance is going around.
Yeah, something, right. They come up with crazy ideas. Yeah.
So I love that part of the game. The one thing about this game that makes me a little iffy on it, and I like the game, is the, what's it called, the darkness, or you're in the dark?
Yeah, the being alone at the top thing is not the most elegant rule.
Right.
It's not, and it's a little tricky to explain, I felt, and it's in the game because it's in the game. I don't know how to explain it. It's there as a game mechanism to keep everyone from, otherwise you would just always say 10.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
It's a gamery necessity.
Yeah, and it's fine, and it works. It's just that I can explain the game in 30 seconds.
And then that takes another 2 minutes.
And then that rule takes another 2 minutes.
I think from this point on, I'm just going to explain, you don't want to be the person who gets the most. It'll hurt your points, and then we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
That's true. That does make sense.
I think that's the way you have to approach it, because otherwise people always ask, oh, what if I earn 3 stars on the... How many points do I lose if I earn 2 stars? What's the total? And I don't want to get into the algorithm of it. Just, it hurts your score.
Yeah, for sure.
I think this game works better for a smaller group of people as opposed to Dixit. Dixit, I think, plays at 3, which is ridiculous. Dixit at 4, I struggle with that. I'm like, let's pull a card from the pile. Even at 5, I'm like, I don't know. Because Dixit is just better with more players.
It is.
Right,
Absolutely.
Stella works. I played this with 4. It works really well with 4.
Yeah.
I really liked it with that. And that's, to me, if I'm in the mood for a Dixit experience, but I have 3 or 4, well, I don't know. I haven't played this with 3.
I haven't played it with 3, but I think it'll work still as just about as good, because you need to be engaged mentally with both the other people.
Right.
And, just what is Z going to pick? What is Roy going to pick?
You have to be very careful not to pick as high of numbers, but yeah, you're right.
That's true.
Right. There's fewer people. It's much easier to surpass the other people because there's only 2 of them. So you get into that game of is picking 5 too many? Maybe I won't make this one. I'll go to 4.
Right.
And then you're playing that game of chicken.
I should have picked that.
You're playing that game of chicken to not be alone at the top, which is the little game within the game. That's neat. But a simple exercise.
And one of the adjectives I'd use to describe this game is it's more
Stellar.
accessible. It's more accessible than Dixit is. It's just, you could bring this to the table with almost anybody. And I mean, I would almost say that about Dixit, but there's those people that sometimes, thinking up the clue and things like that can give them a little bit of anxiety. This is going to be able to hit the table with almost anybody. So
Yeah.
I
And to
agree.
be fair, that Dixit rule, you want some people to get it, but you don't want everyone to get it, was a bit of a trip when it first was introduced.
Right,
you know
for
what I
sure.
mean? When that first came around, and I think Dixit is the first one that did it. It's been done, after, but it's like, wait, so I have to say something so somebody gets it, but not everybody gets it, but not nobody gets it. I don't
How
want that
many
either.
points is it worth?
Yeah.
You got to explain that to me.
That's a tricky bit.
it is for sure.
All right, Roy, what do you give it?
I give it a 7.5. I really enjoy the game. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it'd be great to play at parties with people. It's really enjoyable. I do like games that use these cards and things like that much better. Like, I mean, Detective Club and Dixit. I think I still enjoy Dixit better, but I do think this is a really solid game, and it uses those mechanisms, uses those cards in like a cool way. I mean, it's got the whole grid out there and like trying to figure out exactly where things are going to be, and I like the way that you cycle out the cards throughout the game as well. I think that's really clever.
Yeah.
I think it's an enjoyable game and a great party game that people should check out.
Yeah, I'm going to give it an 8. I like this game a lot. I'm hesitant. I already see people in the comments who are watching this talking about this won't replace Dixit and stuff. It's just a different game. I have a lot of party games, and this is one of them, and this is one of the few that I would play with, like I said, 4 players. If my wife and I have a couple over for dinner, this is a great game to pull out. It has shades of, I might be stealing from Z, compatibility in it. And I will now pass it over to Z.
One of my favorite party games is compatibility. This game reminds me of compatibility. Tom and I are compatible. He steals my thoughts. It does feel like a combination of, to me, Dixit and compatibility. That idea of matching with someone else. This one is you're matching everybody, not just a single person. And I really like it. I think this edges out Dixit for me.
Whoa!
Wow.
Because of the accessibility, again, like you said. Just the idea that I can bring anybody to the table and play this with them. And it goes over just a little more smoothly, and people like that idea of, oh, you picked that too, I thought that. Even on like a long shot especially. They have a connection there, right? Like, I picked this, nobody, I got one. Like, that person thought the same way I thought. I enjoy those moments. This is going to get an 8.5 from me.
Ooh,
really like it.
Yeah, for me, I'm giving this game an 8 because coming from my background, I don't love Dixit, actually. Dixit is one of my least favorite in this universe of games that uses the abstract art cards and everything. But I like this one very much better because I don't see the game getting stilted in that moment where you just can't come up with a good clue with your hand of cards, or someone else at the table is taking a few minutes because they're like, maybe I'll go with no. You know what I mean? This game just it sails smoothly, and I really have a lot to with it. So
actually,
solid 8.
That reminds me, another thing that happens in Dixit a lot, I've seen it happen to people, it's deflating. They give a clue, everyone gets it.
Yes.
And they're like, huh. And then next round they give a clue, no one gets it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and they can't thread that needle. And it feels like...
You don't yell, get good, and then flip the table.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't min-max Dixit. I do not min-max Dixit like some people. I think that you won't have that feeling in this game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
It's funnier when you have this one and dead silent. You know, it's fun. You know, but it's also enjoyable when you this one and everyone agrees.
And you'll get some of them. You know what I mean?
And
I haven't seen anyone play this and literally get no crossover with anybody at the table.
You know what's also awesome about Stella is contests.
That's right. So there's a contest that we're having right now. It goes to the end of 2021, where you can get a $30 gift certificate from Game Nerds. All you have to do to enter this contest is email us at contest@dicetower.com and put in the subject line Frosty.
Frosty.
The snowman was. And that's it here for this review, folks. That's Stella. We're going to keep going on with the Winter Spectacular. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia.
I'm Chris Yee.
And I'm Roy Candy.
Stella.